Hi Danish learner, welcome back to my channel, Danish Matters. I'm Tina Baga, your Danish friend and tutor, and if you're new to this channel, this is about the Danish language and the Danish culture. So if you're new here, welcome, and I hope that you are going to enjoy the content here. Please like and subscribe, as that will help this channel a lot. And also know that you can support my work at Buy Me a Coffee. And there's actually an opportunity to support me monthly if you would like to do so with whatever amount you like, yeah? As small or as big as you want, and you can stop it at any time. Also, if you would like a Danish course with me, then write to tina@danishmatters.dk. Now, I'm looking at my notes today because I have a lot to say, but this video is about what your approach is to your Danish learning. So let's look at a few aspects. I sometimes hear what could be understood as excuses, but actually they're more personal than that. Individual, of course, but of course also personal, because there might be some sort of underlying issues if people have some type of problem or challenge with learning the Danish language. Sometimes those have to do with learning a language in a practical sense, as if not being able to learn languages normally, that is, they're not that linguistically minded. Maybe they understand math and sciences better than languages. That means that if I say a noun, or if I talk about the imperative form, then maybe that's not really something that ring a bell to them, yeah? In that case, if you're one of those, no worries, you can learn Danish anyway, yeah? You just learn differently. Maybe you need to learn grammar through speaking and reading mostly, and by being corrected, that will also help your Danish learning. Maybe you learn by what we would say is learning by doing. You learn by speaking, by writing, by listening, and of course being attentive, observative to what you are learning or what you are reading or writing or listening to, yeah? So little by little, you'll be able to connect the dots, so to speak. I have taught students at a language school many years ago, and some of them I taught in small groups. And some of them I taught actually for years. That was a certain program that their employer had arranged, so that it was sort of like an ongoing course for years. And I experienced students learn something all of a sudden after a very long time. There was one who was all of a sudden able to say børn, children, correctly. She had been saying born for many years. All of a sudden it clicked and she had it. She got it, yeah? Because she's been keeping on. Another one was one that all of a sudden understood inversion. Just like that, in one lesson, everything came together and that person understood. So sometimes it takes a while, yeah? So keep on keeping on is almost always what it takes, yeah? If it is difficult. Learning a language takes time, yeah? Learning by doing is definitely the best way. If we think about it, that's also how we learn our mother tongue. There is no 7-month-old or 1-year-old who is presented to grammar exercises or a text to read in order to learn their mother tongue. What they do is that they're listening, they're observing, they're watching their surroundings, and then one day they are trying themselves, and they are trying and trying and trying. And that is how most of us have learned our mother tongue. That is the normal way. And that is maybe a little bit difficult when it's not your mother tongue and you're an adult and you have to learn this other language. But it is the way to go, at least to try to imitate that sort of learning. I have taken some modules in Danish as a second language, and at one point we were reading a text about a boy who came to an English-speaking country without knowing any English at all, and he was doing the same thing with the English language as he had been doing with his own mother tongue. So he was listening, he was watching, he was observing, and one day he was climbing somewhere high up and he wanted a friend to join him. And then he shouted to his friend, "Shut up!" And of course, right there and then, he received a rather puzzled reaction from his friend. And so then he learned that probably saying "shut up" is not what's going to make your friend come up to you. Yeah, I find that story so sweet because it's about children and it's a little bit funny too, but that is how we learn. Children are better at it than adults are because we are more afraid of being laughed at than children are. They just jump right out into it, and we don't do that as much. I wish we did. Now, excuse me, I've been sick, so I'm coughing a little bit here. What I have just been mentioning is the more like practical issues with learning a language. It could also be that you're dyslexic or you have some hearing disability and so on. Yeah, there might be some issues like that. What I'm also talking about is the more subtle issues, which can be very, very personal. Yeah. When I was in my late teens, I was taking an English evening class about IT. It was not called IT, I'm that old. Probably something with a data or computer cursus course or something like that. But anyway, I wanted to understand this new thing that the computer was. My dad was very interested in this. He had a computer and I wanted to learn about what this was. So I took this class and it was just in my spare time. No exams, no nothing. And I think the teacher found me pretty bright at first. What he did was that he was lecturing a little bit, explaining stuff, and then we did exercises on the computer. And then he was sort of walking around helping us. That went well until one day when there was something that I didn't understand. And my teacher was very surprised, and he said, "Men Tina, du da akademiker." Eller, "Du da matematiker." Sorry, that was what he said. "Du da matematiker." You're a math person. You take the math sort of direction in high school. And I was just as frustrated as he was. And I said, "Nej, jeg er sproglig. I'm a language-minded person. I take the language direction in high school." And from that day on, this teacher completely changed his view of me. And he treated me differently, like I was some sort of imbecile. He was ridiculing me sometimes in front of the others. And naturally, that affected me. And I did poorly, for some time at least. I did learn a lot, of course, but I was not as good as I had been to begin with, because this was influencing me and my learning. To this day, to this day, this has affected me. And I haven't really been able to change that thinking of myself. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at IT. The only thing I like at a computer is writing. I don't like the administrative stuff. So that changed a lot inside of me. I knew I wasn't good at math. There were other people telling me that, and there were other observations that I did, things that I learned that sort of confirmed this. But this was it was more like this course underlined this for me. So since then, I have been working on a better type of self-talk to myself that this not being good at math, not being good at IT is separate from the person that I am and separate from the strengths that I actually do have. And that has been difficult because this is something from back in my life, and I've sort of been dragging that with me. And I'm telling you this long story because you might be doing the same thing with learning Danish as a specific language or other languages. There might be something that you have experienced, a teacher who said something to you, a parent, a sibling, or something that happened, someone that were, I don't know, that was laughing at you or something like that. There might be things like this. So that is difficult when you drag this with you throughout your life. So you might be thinking, oh, but my family, we're more science people, and I should focus on more important things because in your family, science, math, logic are the more important things. Whereas in linguistic-minded family, language and so on is important. Yeah, you might be thinking, oh, but I'm not intelligent. I'm too stupid. I can't learn languages. Or maybe you're thinking that you can't take the time or the money to learn Danish. That is not something you would allow yourself to do. So you might feel that you're not really worth it. That's not for me. No, I have to spend my time better at something else, or I have to spend my money at something else. I'm not worth this. Whatever it may be, whatever might be there, the underlying issues for you, that might influence how you approach Danish learning. You approach it in a particular way. And maybe this is subconscious to you. Maybe you're not really thinking about it. That's what happens in most cases, yeah? So I would really like for you to consider what your approach. You think to yourself, what is my approach to learning Danish? Is there something inside of me, something in my life, something that I have experienced, some sort of thing that we do or say in my family that is affecting my approach to learning Danish? Is this why I'm not good at it? Or is this why I have some sort of resistance of spending the time or the money? Or is this why I don't think I can do it? Yeah, try to think about this. In my audio guide or audio series called Back on the Horse, I have created 17 audio files. They're divided into 9 packages, and you can choose one or more packages if you don't want the full series. It's sort of a build-up type of course. It's not a Danish course as such, but it's about these underlying things, sometimes also more practical about learning the language, but you won't get things served to you. It's more psychological in a sense. So if you want to learn Danish, then get a Danish course, yeah? This is more meter-like and psychological. And one of the packages consists of just one audio file called Your Belief System. And it's about these things, the underlying things. So if you're interested, find the links in the comments. And you can also find the link for the full series of the Back on the Horse if you're interested in that. And remember that you can support my work on Buy Me a Coffee. There's also a link for that in the comments. And of course, if you do want a Danish course to learn the language specifically with me, I have been teaching Danish as a second language since 2009. And I have met people from all over the world with all sorts of issues, and I can help you learn Danish. If you're interested in this, then write to tina@danishmatters.dk. And I just have left to say, happy Danish learning!